Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Musky Talk Mondays. It's been a while. So I'm just waiting for Dennis and Justin. We're actually going to be doing a three-way call, so that's going to be pretty cool. That's going to be a first. 1 second. He's typing. Dennis is typing. Anyways, first order of business is, come on, there we go. Dirty Hooker's Tackle. Yeah. I love it. Dry fit. I really like it. I really like it a lot. Paul says I'm quiet. How about that? Better, Paulie? Since last time I had to freaking stream on YouTube. That sucked. Way different settings and whatnot. I don't like it. Better? So they updated it. They wouldn't allow me to stream. So now we're good to go. So I'm sick as fuck. So if anyone ever gets sick, this and NyQuil. That'll do it. I know. I've had a lot of personal shit going on with the past month, so it is done and over with. And now we can get back to the fun stuff. So, I gotta put a one there. Alright. So I might be coughing a lot today, but...
Yo, bud.
Oh, shit! What's up, Dennis?
What's up, man?
Alright, so now, let's switch over to this screen. There we go. Dennis and Justin, what's up, you guys? Can you hear me?
Let me merge Justin quick and see if this comes through. Hold on 1 second.
Let's see if it works.
All right, are we good? Justin, you in here?
Yep.
Collins in here?
Oh, shit. It's a first three-way.
All right.
Good.
So, guys, thanks for, coming on. I've been talking to Justin for probably a couple months now, just because he got in cahoots with Matt, and we've just been shooting the shit. And so I've known about your baits for a little bit, but then all of a sudden it's like, bam, here we are. You're out and on North Shore. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So let's start from way
It
back
happened
in.
pretty quick.
Yeah, it did. You're like, yeah, I'm trying to work something out, yada, yada, yada. I haven't heard anything from you. And a month later, like, oh, yeah, bam, here we go. First one. What? Who was the first one? Was that Brian that took it out and got the first one on the Exploratory when you sent some out?
Yeah, he got one of the first production navigators, first through wire aluminum lip. He kind of just gave us an idea of what he wanted for color, and Dennis did his magic and made it happen. And second day, either the first or second day he was running it in a spread of 8, he got it crushed on Green Bay.
Wow.
So, I mean, I don't even think there was, 8 hours on the lure, and it got eaten.
That's pretty cool.
That's amazing. I mean, especially to be in a lineup with, some of the best in the industry. I mean, we're talking
Brian
some of the best baits.
Brian runs some good baits. He knows what he's doing. And to get something bid on Green Bay especially, that's a big compliment.
Oh, yeah, Brian catches more fish. Brian catches more fish in a day's time than I've caught all year.
Fact. Yeah, that's
100%.
Uh-huh. Very, very true. So, let's start back from the beginning. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm excited. But, I mean, you guys are from the East Coast. And,
yeah.
Yep.
The Musky community is not as... I don't want to... It's different out there. It's less known, less popular. I mean, with that figure 8 tournament, hopefully bring some new faces into the crowd over in that East Coast scene. But how did you guys get into musky fishing out there?
Well, I'll let Justin go first because he's a little more, a couple more years into it than me. So go ahead, Justin.
All right. Well, I mean, just like a lot of guys, I started fishing at a young age. My dad taking me out fishing, just riding my bike down to the creek by where I live, fishing rod on the handlebars, backpack full of hooks, sinkers, and worms. Just going out catching whatever I could, whether it be sunfish, trout, suckers, bass, whatever was biting. I wasn't, I really wasn't targeting any one specific species. And then, later on in life, I got a little more involved with trout fishing.
Okay.
And because we have some excellent trout streams here in Pennsylvania, and the common thing is fly fishing for 'em. And, the fly fishermen, they kind of look down upon anyone using gear. So, I quickly got like a bad taste in my mouth with trout fishing. And that kind of, led me to give up fishing for a couple years. Basically, 18 up to 21, or 25, somewhere in that ballpark. Doing a little bit more partying.
Oh, of course.
Enjoying my newfound freedom, should I say? So, shortly after, I would say around 22, 23, I decided, I just got that itch again to want to go out and fish, and I got into trout fishing again. I figured I'd give it another shot. I still had all the gear that I, ultralight rods and whatnot. So I figured, okay, I don't got to spend any money to gear up. All I have to do is just get a license and I can go back out. And of course, nothing changes. Nothing changed. I was still getting looked down upon, asking, these fly fishermen asking me, oh, there's barbless hooks. You better be running barbless hooks and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you know what, dude, piss off. And, I've always been a catch and release fisherman. I've always been under the mindset that if I want fish, I'll go to the supermarket and buy fish.
Yeah.
I'm not eating fish out of the creeks and rivers and stuff like that. But anyways, so again, I got this bad taste in my mouth about trout fishing. I started thinking, okay, well, why not try the river? Let's go for some smallmouth or, walleye or something like that. And, went out and bought a couple rods, a couple new reels and stuff like that, some more lures, and got into smallmouth fishing. Did really well. Had a good time, but, just kind of lost its challenge after several years. And, it was actually, I can still remember the day. I was out wading in one of the local creeks here, fishing for smallmouth, and I was throwing a chartreuse spinnerbait.
Okay.
And, at the time, I knew muskies existed, but just like everyone else, I always, I had an idea that, oh, well, they're eating all the fish, they're
Yeah.
These things are worthless. They're killing the fishery. Never seen one. Never caught one, obviously. But anyway, so we're fishing this deeper hole, wading, and I cast a spinnerbait out, and I'm reeling in. My buddy's just upstream from me, casting down, and all of a sudden I see this fish coming in behind my spinnerbait.
Uh-oh.
I'm like, what the hell is that? So I'm bringing it in, and my buddy looks over. I said, hey, look at this. And he looks over, he sees it. He's like, holy shit, that's a muskie. Huh. And so I said, what do I do? And he said, stop the bait, just stop it.
Oh, boy.
So I stop the bait. It drops down, and, this is like maybe 8 feet away from me. And, my heart's just racing. I've never felt an adrenaline rush like this before in my life. The only thing I can really compare it to is, shooting a trophy whitetail or something, like a large 8 or something like that. That's about the only thing I can compare it to at this time. And I'm sitting there as it turns around and swims away, and I'm just like, I want to catch those. Like, that was amazing. And keep in mind, you know, it was maybe a 24-inch tiger is what it was. I mean, it was not big by any means, you know, of what I know now.
Yeah. Back then it was huge.
But yeah, I mean, you know, to see it come in, and I've never had, you know, I've seen smallmouth follow, but not like, you know what I mean, not like right up on something, you know, especially coming in that close. I mean, they turn away within 20 feet of being, you know, being in the water. So at that moment, you know, I went home and I just couldn't get that fish out of my head. I just could not let go.
It got you.
Of that. Exactly. Like right then and there, it bit me. And I've been hooked ever since. And I mean, it has been just a son of a bitch of a passion.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, let's skip forward. You know, I put probably, I mean, I feel I went about it the right way. You know, I didn't take my light, you know, bass gear and spool them up with, you know, 60-pound braid or anything like that. You know, actually, I took the time. I looked at equipment. I looked on YouTube. You know, I looked on Facebook, see what guys were using, and I just remember, like, the shell shock of seeing some of the prices of the stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You know, looking at bass baits and thinking that a $5 bass bait,
yeah,
you know, a $5 spinner or a $6 spinner was like, well, I might as well just throw a $5 bill or a $10 bill in the water.
I know. Buying a shadow rep for $10, like, before I started musky fishing, I was like, what? That's ridiculous. $10? What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, look where I am now. But nonetheless, you know, we. So I'm doing all my research. I'm looking at this stuff because I you know, I've always been the type of person, I like to do something right. You know, I've always been told growing up, if you're not going to do something the right way, don't do it at all. So, you know, I saved up money. I ended up buying a secondhand rod off one of my friends. He had a like a 7'6" St. Croix Premier, extra heavy.
Okay.
And I paired that up with one of the Abu Garcia round reels. You know, just a simple setup. But in my mind, I thought I was king shit out there with my heavy St. Croix rod, big reel, and all that stuff. And I had like a gliding wrap, you know, Rapala gliding wrap, and a Husky jerk. And you know, the thing that you got to keep in mind is here in Pennsylvania, our Bass Pro Shops are, you know, Gander Mountains, which don't exist anymore. You know, extremely limited selection of musky baits. Now,
I bet.
We got Phil.
Yeah, like 8 musky baits, period.
It's just not, there's the market's not there. Like I said, here in Pennsylvania, guys fish for bass, they fish for trout, or they fish for flatheads. You know.
Yeah, and it's less feet for walleye, but that's not even in the same ballpark as what the bass and the trout market is at this point in PA.
Oh no.
No. So, you know, I had my like 4 or 5 baits that are, I'm thinking, are larger than life. I'm like, Jesus, look at this big thing. You know, it's a 4-inch like gliding wrap.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this thing's absolutely amazing. And I got my 80-pound steel leaders there and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, man, we're going fishing for big fish now. And I dedicated an entire year of nothing but taking out what I had from musky, only a musky rod and the musky baits that I had at the time. I spent an entire year just beating the shit out of creeks, out of the banks of the river. I didn't have a boat at the time, and just working my ass off to try and duplicate that same feeling I had that day that I was bass fishing and had one come in. And you know, I ended up. Yeah, I got fortunate. After the first year of trying to do things on my own, I got fortunate enough to find, a couple friends who were also into musky fishing. You know, I made a couple friends because of musky fishing in the beginning, and they were members of Muskies Inc., MI50, Chapter 50. So, I looked to them, you know, because they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And one of my friends, he has a real nice G3, jet boat, and we ended up going out to this one lake. I got invited to go out with him on his boat, and that changed my game completely. He had 8-inch jakes that I was casting out there, and again, then you go up to an 8-inch jake, and you're just like, holy shit, man, these things are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. These fish aren't going to eat these, and so I long story short on that part, we're out there casting this lake. I remember he was ripping this jake through this weed bed and ended up getting a follow from a real stout, mid 40s inch fish. And my jaw I swear to God, it hit the bottom of the water. It hit the bed of the lake. I'm just like, holy shit, just like, wow. And no sooner did that fish disappear, I casted, I made like a Hail Mary cast, just, completely away from this weed bank or this weed edge. And I'm bringing this jake in, just cranking it in. And what I'm thinking is like a mid-30s came up behind it. And I'm like, oh, shit, what do I do? What do I do? And they're yelling at me, go into a figure eight. And I'm here doing this choppy-ass, shitty-looking figure eight, real tight loops. And I just shit the bed on that one. So, let's move forward. So, I had this fish come in, and I had that feeling again. I had that adrenaline rush happening, and I'm just like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. I wanted to feel this again. And my one buddy, he asked me, he said, did you join up with Musky Zinc yet? And I said, no, I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah.
And he said, well, you should think about it. He said, you join up with Musky Zinc, you get involved with the club, and you'll get guys who've been doing this for 15, 20 years, longer, willing to take you out, and they'll pass on knowledge that they know. And I said, and he's like, it cuts the learning curve in half, if not by more. And so I took his advice. I went online. Next paycheck I got, I went online. I signed up, started attending meetings, which, I have to drive 2 hours, about 2.5 hours out to our meetings. I live in the Harris. Me and Dennis both live in the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area, like right around the capital of the state.
Okay.
And our meetings are out towards Philadelphia.
Oh, wow.
The meetings are probably about maybe 30, 45 minutes outside of Philadelphia in the suburbs. And, but it's worth it, it's worth it. So I started going to these meetings. This new guy, no one knows. We go around and I introduce myself to everybody and, all that good stuff. And then, I'm listening to them talk and I'm just trying to comprehend some of the stuff they're talking about because, we're talking about buying fish from Wisconsin to bring down here to stock and do these we have this huge lure auction every year, which is fantastic. Some of these baits that we get on this lure auction are just insane. Like one-off paint jobs, all kinds of stuff. And so anyways, I'm listening to them talk about this, and I'm hearing lure names I've never heard in my life, and I'm like, I'm never going to get all this shit. I'm never going to, be able to remember all this. And anyways, at the end, we do a lure raffle at the end. You buy a ticket, and you win a bait. Well, I ended up winning an all black with chartreuse tail mag dog.
Okay.
And it was one of the economy dogs. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, holy shit, look at this. Look at this bait. What am I going to do with this thing? And one of the members of the club, he reached out to me and he said, hey, if you want to go fishing sometime, let me know. We'll meet up and we'll go out to this one lake called Marsh Creek. It's one of the lakes that we've been working on as a club for 10 years now to stock. And we're now seeing 50-inch fish being produced out of this lake from our stocking.
Did you catch your first one there?
I did.
So how long in between was that period from your first follow to your first fish?
over a year.
Oh wow!
Like well over a year. I mean, it 39.5 inches on the nose.
Hey, it works, man.
Well, and the thing that got me was I caught it on that bulldog that I won. Had I not joined up, had I not gone to that meeting, I wouldn't have caught that fish.
True.
So it's really crazy how everything kind of just lines up, and now here I am. I got my own boat. I do a lot of trolling. I enjoy trolling.
You got your own
if you can't
company
tell
now?
by,
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't tell by the lures
Right.
that we're making, I enjoy trolling a lot. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoy casting as well. I mean, in the spring, pre-spawn, because here in Pennsylvania we don't have a closed season.
Yeah.
Because we just don't have the natural reproduction like a lot of the northern states do. We don't have enough to sustain a healthy population. So we have a lot of stocking that has to be done.
Yeah.
And as a club, MI50, after we purchase fish this year, we will have spent over $100,000 in buying fish to stock in the eastern and central part of Pennsylvania.
That's so cool.
That's insane. It's insane. I mean, the state has now started to mold their stocking program
For muskies?
around what we're doing.
Really?
Yes.
That's
around what we're doing. They were stocking numbers and not size.
okay.
When the club stocks fish, we stock size, not numbers. We're putting fish in, in the anywhere from 12 to 18 inches long.
They have a way
we're
better
putting them in the
survival
water.
chance.
Absolutely. And I mean, the state has been watching what we've been doing at Marsh Creek now for the past 10 years, and they're seeing the success. They're seeing that this lake is now producing 50-inch fish in 10 years' time. I mean, it's insane.
That's really good.
So, it's everything's just getting better here in Pennsylvania. I mean, we have other chapters of Musky Zinc. We have the guys up towards State College up near Penn State area. They're all fly guys. They do the Beast of the East tournament. We have the chapter out towards Pittsburgh, that does a lot, I think in conjunction with Ohio.
So
they do a lot of stocking out there.
Did you meet Dennis through Musky's Inc.?
No. I met Dennis through mutual friends.
Okay.
So I mean, that's how I got into musky fishing. It all started, like a lot of people, started bass fishing. I saw a muskie while I was bass fishing, and that was it right there. That was, I had determination. I was determined to catch one, and I set a goal for myself, and I made it happen.
That's so cool. I love it. I love those first experiences with the muskies.
Oh man, I'm telling you, like I said, the adrenaline rush that I experienced. I mean, just insane. Like I said, I've also been very fortunate too with the help that I've received. Growing as a fisherman. I'm still growing. Every day you learn something new about muskie. Every day you learn something new about anything. But
I kind of learn the same thing over and over again when I go fishing. You know what that is?
Skunk.
I can't catch fish, and muskies fucking suck. That's what I learned.
Yeah, that's me too, bro.
Yeah.
That's my life in a nutshell.
So
that's been this season for me so far. I mean, this season has been so off.
Let's say how our seasons are going so far. Me personally, I've probably put over 200 hours at least.
How many fish you got?
Tons and tons. Three fish. I have 5 fish. All of them, if I had to say, which who knows because they were in the freaking water, but 5 fish hooked to the net, missed over 40 inches, and I have 3 fish, like a 35, a 40, and then like a 29. That's my year, and I put so much time in. It's like Justin doesn't even have a freaking fish yet, and we put so much time in. This is how PA fishing goes.
Hey,
last year
I'm not even worried about it. I got I got one and a baby, but I really haven't fished that much this year, to be honest.
That's the way. This year, I just have. I mean, last year I had probably over 300 hours on the water, and between myself and my one friend, I mean, we had 16 fish in my boat last year. Which I mean, that's not
that's
incredible
what you got to
numbers.
consider though. Boat time. I mean, my boat this year has probably 15 fish in it. Like with me putting people on fish. I mean, hell, just 2 days ago on Saturday, I had two fish hooked. We had 4 into the 8 heavy that should have 8, but we just messed it up somehow. I mean, it's musky. They just like to give you enough to keep you coming back, but not enough to make you happy for the day. That's what it always is.
They suck. They really do. God.
They do. Absolutely.
I want to move to Europe and go pike fishing. At least you catch small ones. You know what I'm saying?
Well, maybe where we're at, in PA, if you catch a pike, it's like off the wall. Like a musky's cool, but if you catch a pike in PA, like that's a fish of a lifetime in PA is a pike because there are no pike. Like I caught a pike. My first actually before I even caught a muskie, I caught a pike, and I was so dumb at the point. I've been fishing this was last spring. I've been fishing for muskie for 13 months now.
Are you guys going to any expos this year? Like up in Wisconsin?
We're actually we can't make it to Wisconsin. We're going to Musky Max. We have a booth. That's PA. That's Pittsburgh area.
Pittsburgh.
Are you coming out Midwest at all? Minnesota or Illinois?
Not this year.
Damn.
We wanted to, but it's just I don't know. We still have to work our day jobs. You know what I mean? So it's tough to get off at that time to get the whole way out there.
I was gonna say because you guys come out here. I mean, we can go catch pike all fucking day ice fishing. I mean, we can.
Yeah, right. I mean, I know you guys out.
Pike,
you guys in Wisconsin, you just shake your old pike off the hooks like they're trash fish.
Yeah, they get it.
When we catch pike in PA, where it's like as good as a muskie to me, at least personally.
Fair enough.
That's the only fish. That's the only predator I have to my name this year. I caught a 37-inch northern pike.
Yeah, that's a good
cast in the spring. Oh, it was a stout fish, and I mean the fact that it surprised me. I was fishing a manta, a laxal perch manta, and I stopped it 5 feet away from the boat, and this son of a bitch just came out of left field and just hammered it right next to the boat. So I mean, it was a good experience.
Oh yeah, in PA, I'll take a pike all day long. It's not like you guys out there where you get a 30-incher on the line, you're trying to shake him off the hook so you don't got to deal with him. In PA, I want that fish in the net.
Hey man, I'll net a 30-inch northern just because I don't catch fish, and that's a good Facebook picture right there. Be like, oh, okay, he actually can catch fish, so good enough. But
hell yeah.
Now, did you guys talk to Todd from TNA Tackle about your baits? Did I see?
I mean, I kind of talk to Todd from time to time. I mean, I wouldn't say we're best buddies, but I know Todd, and I talk to him from time to time.
Okay.
He's a good dude. He's hooked me up with a few angry dragons, which are amazing baits.
Yeah, no doubt.
For sure.
I thought I saw you guys post something that I don't know did I misread that, Todd, before I go on talking about that? But
you might have read. I did. I don't know if you're talking about Musky Freak.
Yeah, like bringing
thing.
I
was talking to Todd like this past weekend. Me and Matt, YouTube Matt, we had like a crazy day on Angry Dragons. Like,
oh yeah, I just watched the video last night.
Yeah, where we fish is clear, like clear water. Like you can see to the bottom in 10 foot, and that's about the deepest you're hitting is 10 foot. And I've never had fish. I've caught since last fall, which was when I started musky fishing, basically, until now. We've caught like 20 muskie out of there, but never. They don't come in on the 8 because it's so clear. They'll see the boat and they leave. You got to get them on your bomb cast all the way out to get them to trigger. And this was the first time last weekend we had 3 fish come in on the TNA Tackle. The one was a white angry dragon, and the one was
that half and half one you guys are throwing. That one's hot. That's
the black one. The black one is actually a gold TNA Tackle angry dragon. He sent me a black one, and I lost it on the 3rd cast on a backlash. So I did some DJ custom work on that gold, and I added the black to it. And we had, dude, these fish came in on fire. I've never seen follows like that in person before. Like, they came in and did like 4 or 5 loops on the 8. They wanted to eat, but we just couldn't figure out how to trigger them. I don't know what the problem was, but they wanted to eat for sure.
Send a picture of that bait to Todd so he can get some of those made up. That'd be nice.
Oh, I will. Yeah, that's my. I sent that to him about 6 months ago. I said, "Yo, this is DJ Custom TNA tackle right here."
So So Justin makes the baits. Dennis paints them. All right. So I haven't held one. They're wood, correct?
Yes, they're made out of Western red cedar.
Okay. And the gliders are made out of maple.
Maple.
Okay. Through Wire Construction, I read about that and everything. So
yep.
You have different models, correct?
We have three different baits that we're working on right now. We have the Navigator, which is what's available right now at North Shore. We have the Voyager, which is the big lipped guy. That's strictly a trolling bait, whereas the Navigator is kind of like a twitching troll. It can be casted, it can be trolled. It's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. And then we also do a glide bait as well. But then there's also something in the works right now that we're going to reveal.
Black Ops baits. We're already on this topic.
At Musky Max, we're gonna have something new. Which, I mean, we posted a picture already of the prototype.
It's a big daddy. It's a big boy.
Where is it at? Yeah, is it on Exploratory Baits?
It's on.
Maybe it's on our personal pages.
Yeah, I don't think we posted it on Exploratory Baits page yet. I don't think. I could be wrong, but it's a. Might as well just say it. It's a 13.5-inch.
Oh boy.
By 1.5 wide. Trolling bait, through wire, Western red cedar. I mean, it's a big lure. Thick, just tall. I mean, it's
is the picture you posted bare wood with just a metal lip in it?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll show it to the guys.
Yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah,
I believe.
That's a big
I believe we're gonna name that one the Alpha.
I like that.
So, and I'm kind of working the idea of doing one jointed also. I don't know if that's going to come to fruition or not, but we'll see what happens. I have the first one right here. It's hanging up sealed. So all I got to do is get it over to Dennis, and which should be tomorrow. I got 13 glide baits hanging up here, drying, and I got that big one.
Okay.
I'll probably drop off at his house tomorrow. And, he'll do his magic.
Yes.
From that point.
Now, I've tried wood carving because for some reason, I'm like, when I first started making baits or decided I want to make a baits, I'm like, oh, they can't be that hard. I mean, you just cut it out with a saw and then, you just router it and then you throw some hooks on there and you're good to go. Well, no. No, not whatsoever. So I have
not quite
most respect for people who actually hand carve. It doesn't even mean not necessarily hand carve, but just make a bait out of wood. I have so much respect for that. It's so much harder than you can possibly think. And make it alone, and then you got to weight it, and then you got to balance it, and then you got to tweak it, and make sure it actually runs right. Make sure it runs at the speeds you want it to run. Make sure how deep you want it to run. It's way harder than a bucktail.
Dude, and the glider guys for sure on top of it. Like I've had help from Todd, from Harvey Bates, from Nutch, from basically anybody who makes good baits have helped me. The glider is the most. I don't know. Either I do it completely wrong, or it's a science for gliders. I mean, I know that lipped baits are difficult, but to get a glider to run perfectly well in current and nicely is such a science. It's not like you're just going to slap something together. I did it. I made my own baits, and they ran. They didn't run amazing, but they ran. But
It worked.
I mean, that's why I paint now, and I let Justin do the woodwork, because if you don't have so much time to invest in everything, you're not going to get a good bait.
No.
Anybody who makes their own baits and paints their own baits are champions, because each part of it itself is a science to do and do it well.
It is.
For sure.
And you just have to get good at two things instead of just one.
Exactly.
That's what I like.
But
Go ahead, Justin.
I was going to say, I think that's where, we're able to produce something, a good quality lure, is the fact that I can actually dedicate all my time to the quality of the body of the bait, the way it runs. And Dennis has all his time to dedicate to just some phenomenal, I mean, some of the best paint I've seen on lures.
I can't lie. Now, hold on, let me go to the Facebook page again. It's some of the most unique painting that I've seen.
Yeah.
As far as just style, I want to say, you don't.
It's a blessing and a curse, my friend. It really is.
How so?
I can't sit down and paint a bait, and I can't what's that bait, Justin? Black and yellow with the black stripes. What the hell is that? What is that called?
Oh, that black perch. Or are you talking about jailbird?
Jailbird, yeah, something like
Bumblebee
jailbird.
Or jailbird.
I can't sit down and paint jailbird. I just can't do it. Period. My brain just goes real weird, and it's how can I take this bait in this style, a jailbird style, and make it my own, and make it as crazy as possible, like nobody's seen. And I think to a point, it definitely is good. But then again, some baits come out, and it's so much to frickin' look at that people are like, dude, what is this? Because it's so much off the wall stuff. But I just can't do basic paint. I'm not capable of doing basic paint. I don't know why. I want every bait to be different than the last one.
Well, good.
I don't want to do batches of 10 baits that are all the same. I can't. Every bait has to be different and unique and one of a kind all the time.
I think it was actually on the video of you and Matt. You had the koi.
Yeah.
Right, and even those two kois were not the same. They you could tell that they're the same bait, but they both look kind of different paint wise.
Well, yeah, and I didn't sit down and think I'm going to do a koi bait. I just sat down and was like, I'm going to paint this pattern, and then I'll run with it. And then I paint a pattern on, and then from there I'm like, how can I take this pattern to the next level? And then how can I take the gill plate and make that insane? And then I'll take the fin from there and make that insane. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes I feel like people think it's a little off the wall and above and beyond that it shouldn't be for a bait. But I'm only 12 months into painting, so I just try and make everything as dope as possible. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes people don't appreciate my I don't know what the word I'm looking for. You know what I mean?
You know what you got to say to those people? Don't buy my bait. Who cares?
Well, yeah, exactly.
But
don't get me wrong. A lot of people I have Paul. I'm sorry, I can't remember Paul's last name right now, but he bought our prototype for $140. Incredible. Dude, he had
Linac.
A tremendous amount of
Musky
of confidence in our bait. Ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead.
Oh, yeah, Paul. Paul, I know you're still in here. I don't even know how to say your last names, bud. Paul Linac.
Yeah.
I sponsor his team, and I don't even know his last name. I feel like an asshole.
Yeah, he had a tremendous amount of confidence in our bait, and he bought the prototype. And, I can't even explain how that makes us feel, me and Justin, as a bait company, that someone is willing to spend that kind of money on a bait and the confidence in us. And that's why we just work so damn hard to make everything off the wall amazing. And I'm not saying that basic paint jobs don't catch fish, because they do, and I know they do.
Yeah.
But I don't have a passion for putting out, and I don't want this to sound wrong, because I own, I mainly fish hellhounds from TRA, just basic paint job hellhounds. That's what I fish.
I like them.
But I can't paint a bait that's basic, I have to make it as crazy and one of one that I can to give to the customer and make it as good as possible. At least in my brain. Maybe not in everybody's brain, but in my brain.
Like you said, you're new to painting on baits. Okay. So maybe somewhere down the line you might, find painting normal patterns would be fun. But until then, do what you have passion for. Otherwise, it ain't going to turn out good.
Oh, yeah. We're breaking into it. Like, I feel like I want to do normal patterns like jailbird or strawberry or something like that. But I still want to do it with my own technique, I guess I'd say, and make it like I don't just want to do a copy of somebody else's stuff.
Yeah. Which
Nuts for one is one of my biggest inspirations. His paint is just insane. I don't know how anybody paints like Nuts does. And that's what I try and aspire to be. I don't want to copy Nuts, but I want to be my one of one that like nobody has out there, and it's just ridiculous and people enjoy it. Is basically what I try and do, I guess.
I like what you guys are doing. I do. It's again, it's something totally different. What drew me was the paint, to be honest, because I'm not really much of a troller or a crankbait guy, and not really much of a glide user anymore, really. But the paint, and then just hearing Justin talk about it, and my respect that I have for that, it's and you guys talking about each being a master, or a good at one portion and handing off to the other one.
Yeah, don't get that twisted. Very, very much a noob. Very new to this. Very green to building baits at this point.
That's all right. It's gotten you here.
But don't get it twisted. They work well. We don't. Stuff that don't work well.
No, of course.
No, we've both been extremely fortunate in what we're able to do and what we're able to make. I come back to what I said. If you're not gonna do something right, don't do it at all. And again, those are words that I live by. And with the baits that I build, from step one to the final step, everything, I am meticulous about everything. Like it gets to the point where, like at the end of the entire process, if something doesn't look right to me, I go over every single lure with a fine-tooth comb.
For instance, Justin, we just put out a batch. We just completed a batch, and I'm telling you, and I'm not exaggerating, I probably have, I don't know, way too many hours to even think about painting these baits. Mm-hmm. And half of them, they ran great. Half of the baits ran great. But they just didn't run to the par that we're going to put a bait out and sell it to somebody for money, even though they would catch fish and they run great. So we just didn't sell them. I spent so much time on these baits. The paint was immaculate. The epoxy was great. They ran great, but there was just like for instance, we put a shallow and a deep line tie, and the shallow line tie ran good. The deep line tie ran amazing, but we didn't like how the shallow line tie ran. So those baits that we spent 40 hours on, they're not going to the public. I'm not going to put out a bait with a little imperfection that you might not notice or somebody might not notice, but we noticed it, so it's not going out. We're not going to sell that for high dollar to somebody.
Hey, I'm just going to let you know that I know people that sell mistake baits for cheaper, like Adam from Madtown Lures. He brought some to the expo.
He's a good dude.
Yeah, he brought some to the expo.
He's helped me a lot.
Yeah, and I'm like, just let you guys know, there is a huge market for imperfect baits that are just a little off, and I'm one of those gurus right there. 'Cause I'm a cheap fucking bastard.
well, that's these. We have some big Voyagers, some big 9-inch trolling baits that run like champs on the deep line tie. The shallow line tie, I feel like, still runs decent, but it's just Justin is just like I am with my paint, with his building. He's a perfectionist, and he doesn't want anything to get out unless it's perfect, 100%.
It needs to leave my hands 100%, come back into my hands for testing, for not for testing, but for final tune.
Yeah.
Because I also, being a troller myself, I like being able to go out, take a bait out for the very first time, put it in the water, watch it, and see it running true.
Mm-hmm.
If it's running off to the side, it's I'm not saying it's a downside or anything like that, but, it just tells me that maybe it wasn't ran before it got sold. Whatever. However other bait makers do their thing, do it. I mean, if you're selling, then you're doing good. But like I said, myself, I'm too much of a perfectionist. I'm so damn anal about lures running true, and the way that I know that they can run. If they aren't doing that, then I don't like the 3 Voyagers. Like Dennis was saying, there was 3 Voyagers that were supposed to go to North Shore to be sold, and with the
and I put I seriously put 14 hours of paint and time into these baits. Like they were the paint was sick. Like I did everything I could to make them sick, but we're still not going to sell them if they're not going to be proper.
No, those baits. It's actually kind of funny. Family friends of ours, they're actually from Wisconsin area.
Okay.
And my wife's friend, she was just over here today, and we had our kids playing and everything, and she was telling me she's getting ready to go up to Wisconsin to be to spend time with her mom and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Oh, whereabouts are you going?" And she told me where she was going. And I said, "Man, that street name in that town sounds really familiar." So I go looking through my phone, and I get the address Brian J. Klein. And I said, "Hold up, what's the address?" And she told me the address. I said, "Your mom and Brian are practically neighbors, like practically neighbors. Like it's insane how so." So I don't know if Brian's listening or not, or if he's going to listen, but I just sent 2 of the Voyagers with her to hand deliver to them.
Deal.
So, yeah.
Someone take Brian in this. We'll take Brian in this.
But no, I mean, what that guy has done for us, as far as taking our bait, running it, putting some. I mean, because again, the guy runs the best of the best.
He does, dude. He really does.
So for him to take our lure, and I mean, he was using it in Utah fishing for tiger musky and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, wherever he goes, our bait goes, and it ends up in the water. I mean, he has over 60 hours logged on that one lure, and he's only had it for what, like maybe
a month, probably?
maybe 2 months.
Okay,
yeah,
2 months,
a month, maybe 2, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
we'll say a month and a half. So it's just to get that kind of, how do I say it, that kind of use out of something. Somebody that
with
runs,
the skill he has, use with the skill exactly.
Exactly. It's very humbling. It's and I like to take care of the guys that do me favors and stuff like that. Like I owe a ton of baits to a ton of guys, because I mean, starting this, I've had Dennis and I both have had a ton of help from some of the best builders in the industry. We've been extremely fortunate in that aspect. Like Zach Baker. I know everybody
loves the Baker baits.
Everybody loves his baits. He's been, he's always had an open ear, and I know I can, if I have an issue or a question with something, I know I can ask him, and he'll give me, an honest response. Like he'll tell me, no, that idea is, it's okay, but maybe try this instead. Because when I first started building these lures, like the whole prototyping process, like just designing, I was going to build them out of poplar.
Okay.
Which is a big no-no if you're doing crankbaits. If you're doing any lure, really, I was told you got to use cedar for your crankbaits, and you got to use a hardwood, oak, maple, for your glide baits. I mean, you use the harder woods, I guess, because of the wood density. It's heavier.
Yeah.
You know, it sinks easier. And then you use the cedar because of its natural, water repelling abilities, I guess, or something. But, and Zach was one of the guys that told me, you spend a few more dollars, buy cedar. Don't use poplar because you're going to get baits that pop on you. As soon as a hook gets into that wood, scratches into that wood, or if it gets eaten, if it gets eaten enough, the water will get into that wood. It'll swell up and it'll pop the epoxy. You'll end up with a giant split, which cannot be fixed. I mean, that bait is toast.
Garbage. Yeah.
There's no way of fixing it because the wood's wet. It's swelled up. There's no way you're going to fix that. So, like I said, man, for him, to be reaching out to me, I mean, the respect I have for that guy for what he has done. After doing this for the short period of time that I've been doing it, and to see what he has done and he's been able to accomplish, and that he's still beyond relevant, is it's just like I idolize that. That's what I want to be. I look up to that like big time. Because I mean, he's doing it all on his own. I mean, he's cutting, shaping, painting, getting these orders out to TRO and wherever else. He's doing the shows and stuff. And it's just like, dude. And then he has a family on top of that. And it's just like, man, the respect I have for that guy is just insane. So, if he ends up hearing this, thanks, Zach. But no, like I said, we've both been extremely, extremely fortunate with the help that we have received from the building community.
It's a good group of guys out there. It really is. Oh,
absolutely. And, getting into it, I didn't know exactly how low-key some of the techniques were. I mean, honestly, like, somebody asks me, well, how do you do your through wire?
Well, everybody has their little secrets, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, trade secrets.
Everybody has their secrets. I've had Nutch, I've had Todd from Harvey Bates, Craig Lynch, everybody, Mark Richardson. I've had everybody help me, but certain people have their techniques, kind of like my crackle technique. Like, it's my calling card. Everybody has their calling card. You're not going to share everything, but I've had help from all of them. If I can message any one of them right now, and they all give you a hand. They're all good dudes. Everybody in this community is a good dude.
It really is. There's a lot. There's a lot of good people out here.
I really couldn't tell you one person that has ever been ignorant to me or told me no. Like, obviously, certain things. Like Musky Tamer, for one, he's helped me with more than I can imagine. Like he every time I ask him for help, he's just down to help. And his baits, for one, are insane. I don't know how he paints how he does. And the cleanest paint I've ever seen.
Time, practice, years of it.
Yeah, his paint's so clean, it boggles my mind at how you do a paint job that good. But
I can't paint, so I don't know.
I'm in the same boat, dude. I'm in the exact same boat. The first couple baits I ever made of my own for trolling. Mm-hmm. Krylon paint job, rattle can paint job. Yep. Before I even knew Envirotex was used as the finished coat of epoxy, I was taking DevCon 5 minutes and smearing that as quickly as I possibly could over top of this rattle can paint.
Yep.
And but the crazy thing about that is I have a bait that still rides in my box that I made with a piece of flat stock aluminum, and flat stock aluminum for a lip, and it's poplar wood. It's got screw eyes and all that stuff. It caught a fish. It wasn't. You hear the guys telling stories about, oh yeah, I saw it off the end of my broomstick and threw some lead in it, threw a couple screw eyes on it, gave it a flat black paint job, and some hooks, and sure as shit, there we go. We got a top, walk the dog top water, and well, that's more or less what I did. I just quickly, cut something out. I mean, shit, dude. I even took like a pocket knife to put my bevels on the edges of this thing, and then sanded it down to get a nice round top and bottom.
All right, you need. I want to see a picture of this one. You need to post it to Exploratory.
I can do that. I'm not ashamed of it.
And then Dennis, do you have like one of the first paint jobs you've ever done? Dennis?
Is Dennis there?
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm here. What's up?
I said, do you?
I was reading comments. Sorry.
Do you still have one of the first paint jobs you've ever done?
I do. I like the first 5. They're horrible.
Deal. Perfect. All right. So I posted up on my Facebook the very first bucktail I made. So I'd like you guys to do that the same.
I will. I'll get you the picture. I mean, I wouldn't say it's okay. It's kind of horrible. I was proud of it at the time, but looking back, it's horrible.
Oh, dude, I thought I was like Top Gun with this little thing that I created. Looking back now, what the fuck is that, dude? It's like 4 feathers.
I thought I was producing $30 baits with my first 3 paint jobs, and then looking back, it's like
I couldn't. Give that away.
No. That's right.
I swear I couldn't give this freaking thing away. This first bucktail I made. But no, just because I mean, you're saying everyone's been so helpful with you guys starting up and helping you along the way, and I just like to show to people out there to inspire more people to get into the bait building and be like, hey, literally everyone has started off with a bucktail that looked like this. Literally everyone started off with a piece of wood that looked like this, or a paint job that looked like this. We've been there.
Yeah.
It happens. It's all those people you riddled off before have all started the same place.
Oh, I've heard stories, of some of the most, the big hitters, right now. I'm talking the guys that can't keep baits in stock anywhere. I've heard stories. I haven't seen pictures yet, but I've been told there are pictures, if you ask the right people, of some of their first baits. And, it's exactly what you're saying. Everyone starts somewhere. Whether it is that broomstick handle that you cut off or, whatever.
Dude, I started with a fucking lathe, and I was making wiener baits, basically, and paint them up. I mean, okay, I started with my little brother who made AJ custom baits. His baits were sick. He musky fished. I didn't do anything. And he said, hey, give me some help, bud. And I helped him with them. And his baits were dope. He caught plenty of fish on his baits. Then he disappeared down south, and I was like, oh, well, I guess I have to continue making baits because it's fun. So I got to figure out how to do something. So that's how it went, and it went from wiener baits to decent glider baits to where we're at now, about a year later.
Baits.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, just to kind of touch on the beginnings of this whole thing, because I know we're kind of just jumping all over the place at this point. So I figure we'll try and reel this in a little bit.
Well, that's fine. That's how Musky Talk goes. I don't set a schedule. We just come and talk about muskies.
All right. Well, that works.
Whatever happens.
Like I said, when was it? That was November, December last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I built my very first trolling crankbait, the orange. I call it. I don't even know what 14 karat. I call it 14 karat goldfish or something like that because it's got gold glitter all through it and stuff. But anyways, you'll see a picture of it. I'm gonna, we'll put them up there. But anyways, so I did that. I caught a fish on a bait I made. I felt I had that satisfaction. I had that feeling of satisfaction. And I'm fishing my local lake. Big water. It's big water for us here in Pennsylvania. It's 1,200 acres.
Mm-hmm.
It's an impoundment lake, so it's dammed up on one side, and it's deep water. There's no real structure in it. You're fishing on average 35-foot deep water.
Oh, wow.
Hence why the Voyager was created. You know, I know there's baits out there. You know, I fish headlocks. I fish the Musky Candy Snipers. My box is full of good trolling baits. But I wasn't, it's not that I wasn't satisfied. I'm a cheapskate at times. I'm cheap at times. So, some of these deeper diving baits, they cost, you're a headlock, $80, $90. Great lure though. I mean, that's all I fished pretty much all last season. I had a 10-inch glitter perch headlock on, and it caught over half of my fish last year. It's chewed up. I mean, Dennis has it right now because I let him borrow it for the figure 8 tournament, trying to get him in on a little bit of trolling action. But he can attest to the little epoxy patch jobs that I have on it, and where wood's showing and stuff like that. Just beating the shit out of it. Well, anyway, so you set that on a deep pin. I set my rods back 130 foot. All my lines go back except for like board rods. My lines go back anywhere from 100 to 130 foot behind the boat. Again, I'm fishing gin clear water where the fish have been. I personally have experienced them being boat shy. Casting this lake, having them come in. I mean, you're seeing visibility is anywhere from 15 to 20 foot in this lake.
I like that.
I mean, it is just gin clear. I mean, it is like obnoxious. So anyway, I'm we're fishing. I'm fishing 35 deep water on average. Areas where it can go to 60 to 80 foot deep, 100 foot down by the dam. And the banks even, I mean, you go up towards the banks are just sheer cliffs, because what it was actually a town, like an old farming town, that the Army Corps of Engineers came in, bought the properties, all the farms and all that stuff, and flooded it for a water source. Oh. And so, I mean, what we're seeing now as far as islands and the banks used to be the tops of ridges. Stuff like that. So, I mean, it's deep, and it's pretty much like, it's like fishing open water all the time. Because even, like I said, you even get up on the banks, like up towards the shore, and you're facing like just a sheer drop right down to 40 foot.
So
there is no like
try to find the bait fish or something?
You target schools of bait. There's bridge pilings and stuff like that. There is structure, but it's man-made structure, like house foundations and stuff like that. I know they put like cribs in. They put rock piles in, to try and help with the largemouth bass and stuff like that. And the muskies will tend to hang on those, but the majority of them are all caught open water in, suspended down 20 to 30 foot. So I'm running all my baits. All my baits are running just as deep as I can possibly get them without having to add weights. So, I'm there, my brain's just, the gears in my head are just turning. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, why don't I, I've made a bait before that worked. Why don't I try to make something that will get down to 30 foot with 100 foot of line out? Get down to 30 foot with ease with 100 foot of line out. So that's when I kind of set the task for myself to make what is now the Voyager. This bait will actually get down to 30 foot with 80 foot of line out. It'll
wow.
You put 100 foot out, you're going down even further. I never really tested to see how deep I could get it, because I don't want to lose it, or I didn't want to lose it at the time.
Yeah.
But now that I have a couple of them, I'm not afraid to possibly lose one. But and they troll up to 6 miles an hour. I've had these things running up to 6 miles an hour already, and they're not blowing out. They're just back there walking like crazy and just wandering all over the place, just acting nuts. Anyways, so I designed the lure. I get the body shape that I want, the body shape that worked well for me in the past. And I get to the lip. I'm like, well, what am I going to do for a lip? And I made a box out of 1/4 inch thick Lexan plastic, a trolling box.
Okay.
And so I had some leftover Lexan plastic. I'm like, okay, well, we'll just make one out of Lexan real quick. So I'm there messing around with shapes and stuff like that, and ended up coming up with a design that I was digging. But the thing is seriously the size of a shovel. You know, it's like we stuck a shovel on the end of this bait. No, I mean, you know, sarcastically saying, but
Yeah.
it's a big lip. So, you know, I get everything together. I kind of make like the, you know, prototype number 1, like nothing that it never got put together. It never actually got finished. I have it sitting in a drawer with all the components sitting in a bag, like a plastic, like little clear plastic Ziploc bag. You know, it's labeled prototype Voyager number 1. So I post a picture of the lure, you know, just to kind of get a little bit of feedback from just my friends. You know, friends all over the place. You know, just trying to like kind of gauge like what other people thought. You know, why I cared what other people thought, I don't know, but you know, I did. And the response that I got from it was surprisingly good. And you know, I'm like, okay, well, maybe we're going to actually I'll put 2 together. So I actually built 2. That way I can run them on, you know, my two down rods. Mm-hmm. I built 2, and I'm sitting there. I have these, you know, they were Lexan lip with a wire line tie, you know, screw eyes. You know, they weren't through wire or anything like that. And so I'm sitting here looking at these baits that are, they're built, they're together. They just don't have, you know, any paint on them. And I thought to myself, I'm like, well, the old rattle can, that worked before. But, you know, I thought, you know, I was thinking, I was like, no, I kind of want to do something special. You know, I actually took some time to design this. I didn't just slap it together real quick. You know, I took a little bit of time, put a little bit of effort into making these. I kind of want to make them look good. Mm-hmm. And I got to think to myself, I'm like, well, what am I going to do? You know, am I going to contact somebody, you know, out of state, you know, who, like, you know, a whole bunch of names went through my head that I could ask if they wanted to paint them. But then, you know, I got to thinking, and I saw Dennis posting his glide baits, and I remember his paint jobs just like putting my jaw on the floor. Mm-hmm. You know, like when he started doing some of these like real crazy. My good friend Larry Carter, he actually kind of dubbed the name like an acid trip type paint job. You know, like paint looks like, you know, the creator was on an acid trip when he was painting them. Well, anyways, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this is the man right here. This is the guy. I'm gonna ask him if he wants to paint these for me. You know, I'm thinking to myself, he's local. He's he's about 20 minutes away from me. Mm-hmm. You know, no big deal. No shipping involved, no nothing. So I contact him on Facebook and talk to him, because at that point, you know, me and him, we've never fished together. We've never talked in person. We never talked on Facebook. We knew each other existed through mutual friends, but we just, you know, we never got together or anything. And so like I said, I messaged him. Said, hey man, I got a question for you. Would you be interested in painting 2 lures that I just made, you know, for myself? And how much would you want for it? He said, oh, yeah, sure, why not? You know, whatever. And he's like, you know, I'm not worried about money right now. Just, you know, catch fish on them or something. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, shit. Okay, yeah, cool. So I took him over, dropped him off to him. He's looking at them. He's digging them. He paints them up. I asked for a fire tiger, like a fire tiger perch pattern. Yeah. Like a hot perch, sort of. And then I asked for well, God damn it, like a black crappie or.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, something like, you know, something along them lines. No, black perch. I'm sorry, it's black perch. Okay, Perch. That's what it was, black perch. You have to keep in mind, I my job and stuff. Anyways, I'm a little scatterbrained. But so he paints these up for me. He sends me the pictures of them. Again, my jaw was on the floor looking at this paint. I'm just like, holy shit, dude! Like, these are awesome. He sends the pictures also to another mutual friend of ours who knew Craig Gravander with North Shore. He sends the pictures to him saying, hey, man, check these out. Craig got back with, his name's Ryan. He gets back with Ryan. And from what I can gather, he wanted to talk to me. And so Ryan messaged me. It was like 10:30 at night. I got to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to work. So I'm looking at my phone like, who the fuck is messaging me at 10:30 at night? I'm in bed. And it was Ryan saying, hey, do you have time to talk to Craig from North Shore?
Yeah, I do.
I'm like, what's it regarding? He said, about your new baits. I said, yeah, I'm up. I'm awake. So my wife and my kid are sleeping, so I go downstairs. I go outside, puffing on cigarettes. I give Craig a call. We're talking on the phone. He's talking about the baits and stuff like that. And, that's the first time I talked to him. And tell me, he was digging what was going on with them. And, he liked the paint. He liked the shape. And he said he's curious to see where they go. Like, he said, build a couple more, see what happens. And he gave me, he was giving me, he was more or less coaching me through the process. He's like, if you did through wire instead of screw eyes, he said, now keep in mind, the majority of my baits are screw-eyed baits. Yeah. He fishes screw-eyed baits. So don't think that we are, through wire snobs here, because I'm not. But he's just saying, he's like, you have something here with that shape and everything, that paint and stuff like that. He said, try and develop a technique for through wire. See what you can do. And I said, okay. So I started messing around. Well, actually, I built two more the original way with the screw eyes and the left-hand lip. Those ended up going to the greatest woman to ever fish for muskie, in my opinion, Sylvia Spitzer. She is she is like the keystone for our club. Mm-hmm. The stuff that this woman does for our club is just absolutely words can't describe how much the state of Pennsylvania owes her. You know what I mean? Because she does the lure auction. She does all the. She's an amazing woman and a hell of a fisherman or fisherwoman. Also, but anyways, she goes up to Rowan every year. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh shit, dude, I'd love to get some of these baits in her hands to take up control on Rowan. And so I emailed her. I was talking to her. I said, hey, if I were to make you two baits, what colors would you want them to be? And she didn't really know. She kind of knew I was building baits because we talked about it and stuff. She told me the colors that she wanted. So I built these two with the screw eyes and the Lexan lifts. They were actually prototype number 3 and 4. They're actually 4 and 5. So I get these, these baits are painted. I send them up to her. She's fishing them. She loves them and stuff like that. And apparently they had one of the worst springs this year as far as, because the water temps, the lake trout were hitting when they shouldn't have been, and whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Canadian stuff is just beyond me. But but anyways, so they got sent up to her, and it was after that I kind of sat down and developed my technique to do through wire baits. All my through wire is just that it's one piece of wire. It's one solid piece of wire going from the line tie on the lip, to the belly, the belly hook hangers to rear hook hanger. That's all one solid piece of wire. I don't have, I'm not drilling holes up in the belly and hanging, like making hooks out of wire and hanging them up in there, anything like that. And, I kind of fumbled with my technique. I tried several different techniques, and finally I landed on the one that works amazing for me. And, I've done everything from taking them outside, and I mean just smashing them on the ground, like taking one, like building one, taking it outside and just as hard as I can, throw it straight down to the ground, and seeing if I can get it to break. Nothing. I can't. I'm not a little guy either. And I can't get this thing to split.
With those other two prototypes, did that kind of like solidify your and Dennis's relationship of being like partners?
It got it to the. Dennis was still technically doing his own thing. Like he was still doing DJ customs, and I was doing exploratory baits. Okay. It wasn't until we got the green light from North Shore that they were interested 110% in what we were doing. That they wanted lures, they wanted our baits together. They wanted to sell them.
Well, yeah, my kind of thing was I've had multiple, I don't know, not necessarily beforehand, but even after, I've had multiple people want to paint, from Team Rhino, Jeff, who is a fucking awesome dude, and I'd love to work with at some point. Chaos Tackle, everybody, and Lunge and Lures, Chris, fucking one of the nicest dudes I've ever met, and I've done paint for him, actually, for this show season. He's one of the nicest dudes I've ever spoken to, actually. But it was kind of, I don't know. I did my own stuff, and everybody likes cool paint, but once we had the North Shore thing going, it kind of just solidified, like, it's actually a real thing that's happening and moving forward, not just somebody wanting a few paint jobs here and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, so I was on North Shore website just a minute ago, and your baits aren't up there just yet? Am I missing it?
No. What's going on? Here's what's happening. So keep in mind, they just got up to North Shore on Friday.
Okay. All right.
They got to Craig. They got to Craig on Friday. Before for them to go on the website, they have to go up to John in Canada. Once he receives them, then they should be on the website. I would think possibly by next week they will be available. If there's still a couple, there should be a couple left, because I know Craig set 4 aside to send up to John to get into the Canadian market, to kind of help aid in that. And then as of right now, we've already, I think there might be one left.
So
no,
they pretty much just are about to get released to the public.
Yeah, everything that it was supposed to be, half was going to Canada.
Okay.
Half was going to be U.S. side. And as of what I just saw on Facebook, the U.S. side just sold out. Like, it was like a day and a half, and they're gone because of Craig put 2 up initially. Mm-hmm. They were sold privately. A couple of them were sold privately, and then a couple more were just sold to the public. Musky Stars, all that good stuff.
Yep.
So the rest should go to John.
Yeah, for him to do his thing with.
Okay.
Yep.
And I take it those will be we'll be notified on Facebook when those pop up for sale.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Hey,
I mean,
ladies, I gotta run here in a minute. You guys feel free to continue your conversation. I love it, but I gotta run and get some stuff done here.
Well, hey, I'm gonna cut it here because I'm sick. I'm gonna go to bed. But guys, you guys are doing awesome stuff. I'm really excited to try to get my hands actually on one. I'm kind of a cheapskate, but I kind of want to spend the money on this. But
it's worth it. It's well worth it. I mean, they are solid, like built like bricks. So
keep doing what
like
you're doing, guys.
I don't know if you saw Brian's.
Yes, I did. And then I take it everyone go follow Exploratory Baits on Facebook, and they'll be notifying when some baits are for sale.
Hell yeah, buddy.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
wow. I was about. Never mind. Dennis, Justin, thanks for coming on, you guys. And I don't know, just keep rocking out, and maybe I'll see you sometime during the show season.
Sounds good. Sounds
For
good.
sure, bud.
Have a good
We'll
one,
talk
guys.
to you soon.
Yep.
Good night. Later, buddy.
Well, there we go. Cool. I like it. Follow their Facebook page. Let you know when some baits are for sale, and you'll get to see some of their first created baits. I'm sorry, I'm sick, you guys. I'm going to bed. I'll see you next Monday. Thanks for tuning in.